I'm extremely honored to be here today on the invitation of Mr. L.V. Navneet, CEO, the Hindu Group, Mr. Ayon Sengupta, editor of Sportstar. Sportstar is a magazine which we have been reading right since our childhood, and the other friends of the Hindu Group and the cricketing fraternity especially, whom I see here. The topic given to me is sports for community building. It's a very common sense type of topic. Everyone knows how important sports is for any community, any country, or any society. In fact, any resident welfare association also, if they have some type of sports activity, it becomes a much better place to live in. Now, I'll just start off with this quote by Margaret Wheatley, which says, "There is no power for change greater than a community discovering what it cares about." So, sports is something which falls into that, and once a community realizes that sports is something which brings together everyone, fosters so many other outputs and results. As a nation, we move forward, and as a country, as a state, also we tend to be together. Now, sports as such, if we take the outer meaning, what is it? It is physical activity. It involves all the other specialist areas, the Olympic sports and all. But even activity like doing your yoga or doing your pranayama, these also would be part of that. And when I go for walks in the KBR Park, I see huge groups of them doing this yoga and also having that laughter pranayama where 100 of them, suddenly they go off and laugh. That's a type of yoga, they say, and gives them great enthusiasm. Now those 100 people there, that's a community, and they're all together for a purpose. And the type of joy I see in their faces is something which, gives meaning to this topic, sports for community building. Now, what do we see in the present scenario? When we were young and there was not so much of TV or so much of screen time, there was not so much of WhatsApp and so many social media outlets. Now you see everyone getting stuck with their cell phones, just staring into it. We are having real problems in doing our bandobast. The younger batches, 2018, 20, most of the time we are having to warn the SIs who are of these batches and constables who are recruited newly. We post them on duty and they are busy watching their cell phones, letting the traffic go haywire, letting agitators get into buildings. This is something which we all, as we are in a certain age group here, and this is a real challenge to this aspect of sports, to act as a community builder. This is what we have today. In those days, we had a lot of spare time. We had school, we came back, we played in school, we came back, we played in the colony. We had about 30 or 40 of us playing all sorts of games, seasonal games, from cricket to I Spy to Lattu to Patang, flying kites for 2-3 months, I remember. And what joy. I mean, now if we take our children, I've tried with my sons to make them fly kites. They're just not interested. It doesn't interest them. Okay, they may have their own interests, but that is more to do with sitting down at one place and looking into things and playing those computer games, and I don't know if we can call that sport, because sport is something I feel it has to be physical, and we need to move our limbs, we need to, because that activates so many other hormones and enzymes and other brain connected activities. It brings about cohesion, it brings about understanding of our own self and relationships with people. This may not happen when you sit individually and play a computer game. So with this scenario in the present times, and when students, it started in our time where this techno school started, Chaitanya, Narayana, young students in the class 6 to 8 to 9 were transported from these schools and put on those 16 to 18-hour schedules to pass their IITs, to pass their medicine entrance exams. And of course, they had success because they specialized in it, they cracked those exams, they got top ranks. I can cite the examples of many of my own classmates who, after 12th, who were excellent sportsmen, in fact, went into this, and they went to US, they made millions of dollars perhaps, but finally, that was just one or two of them. What happened to the remaining? What happens is, sports develops life skills, which perhaps it doesn't allow the other academics to develop in a certain person. Life skills are very necessary to lead our lives. We may be very good in our academics, we may pass these exams, we may get high-flying jobs through them, but finally when you enter and you want to manage that organization, you are interacting with several types of people. Just two human beings are enough to create controversy, as you know. Husband and wife also is enough. Two friends are enough. And politics start when two humans stay together. So, when in such a complicated scenario, how do you manage all these people? How do I manage my 18,000 Hyderabad city police? How do I manage my 35,000 people when I was in CISF? That is the biggest challenge. How do I manage my organization when I am a leader? That is what sports teaches us if we are involved in that. That is the biggest contribution sports gives to any human being. That's what has been my experience. If anyone says, you're a very good police officer, you're different from others, I say, thank you cricket, thank you tennis, and thank you so many other games I played. Because I have seen how it feels to be dropped unfairly. I have seen how when you're a captain, you are on top and you can lead. I have seen how you have to be just a bowler or a batsman and you have to be part of the team. This handling of egos of several individuals is what is the most important thing which sports teaches us. Apart from this, the power of sports, what it does to nations. China, so many gold medals. And what do we feel about China? Such a powerful country. Okay, economics on one side, the biggest GDP turnover, America on the other side, first and second in the world parameters on economic growth. But on the other side, we also see them taking the maximum medals in the Olympics. And what is the image the nation gets from that? Such powerful nations. So, sports is not just for its own, it's for the image of a nation, it's for the image of a country. Now just see what 400 runners have done to all of us. What Neeraj Chopra has done to all of us. We feel so proud. What are the names? Rajesh, Ajmal, Jacob, Anas. The way they ran the other day, have you seen that? 4x400? I've never seen anyone running like that. Why is that happening? Why is it that I used to be a runner. I used to have 11.2 timing in 100 meters in those days when the national record was 10.8 in school and college. But we have never had any type of encouragement. What was the future? We played cricket at such a high level. What happened after that? there's no security for life. You know, you went home, you had to hide yourself, you had kit bags, you had to keep it outside on the compound wall, slip out without saying that I'm going to a friend, and then take your kit and go and play cricket. Those were the days when people at home never understood what it meant, because it never gave you a way of living your life. What? Em chestavara adi. That was a sentence in Telugu. In Hyderabad, he's like, kya bakwas kar raha. Even Siraj faced that, he told me. He was to earn 1,000 rupees every day to, run his family. His father's earnings through auto driving was not enough. So these were the conditions, and it's hats off to Siraj for coming out of that. Then things are changing slowly. Even today, parents expect children to put studies as a priority, but things are changing. This is happening because the government is thinking slightly differently. There are Khelo India games. There are, in several age groups, and slowly talent is coming out in several. We see medals being won in shooting, in wrestling. Then we have now runners. We saw in the last Olympics also, they're almost there. Perhaps in a few more years, we will see them winning some medals. And in every area, we see some sort of mobility on the aspects of sports. What it does to a nation of 140 crore people, it lifts our spirits. We feel great. Everyone is, when Sindhu wins a championship, the entire country is rooted and watches her. When Neeraj Chopra throws the javelin and wins the world championship, we feel so proud. So we need more moments like this to enjoy, to facilitate, to felicitate ourselves, to greet ourselves. So that's what it does to a community, to gives it impetus to do better. Apart from that, I have used sports for community building all along through my 32 years of police service. Every posting, everywhere, is the easiest way, especially for a public, interactive department like police, to just, get into the public, get accepted by them a little more, because our jobs are tough. Though people benefit from it, they need us 24/7, but in discharging those duties, sometimes mistakes are made. There are some bad apples, bad grapes who spoil the reputation. There are 95% good officers, but when some things go out of hand, it is this community which, if it is on our side, then we tend to overcome those crises. And the best way to do it is through sports. I've known sports, and I've used it to such a maximum extent in policing, all through every posting which I did, all over the state, the United State, and then in Telangana now. All the districts, the rural areas. We used to have these sports tournaments, and that's the best way to bring them. All games which were popular, right from kabaddi, volleyball, just organize them. The local inspector, SI, were told to organize these games. And once these games are organized, they tend to get into a type of cohesion with the police on one side and the government on the other side. When we faced the Naxalite issue right through the 90s, this was one of the biggest this biggest channel through which we could reach out to the people who were scared of the police, because they didn't know what we were going to do the next moment. Were we going to cordon and search the village, bring them to the police station, beat them up? They just were not. So sports was the best way to get to them, organize whatever we could in those tough times, and still slowly he started feeling more and more comfortable. And finally, after 15 years of effort, you could see that sports was one of the methodologies, apart from several other measures like rehabilitation, rewards, encounters took place, and wiping out of the issue. Now you don't see any trace of Naxals, where every day there used to be some blasts or some other issue in the state. I think you all remember those days. So that being the power of sports and the power of sports in a community, what I would say is it also leads to inclusivity and diversity. And people of all walks of life, they tend to get included in those activities. IPL, the way it is celebrated. I remember earlier Test cricket, one-day cricket, where sports were types of tournaments liked by connoisseurs of cricket, those who understand, who want to sit the whole day and can watch 10 overs of defense, how well he's defending. That is what Puritans like us do, you know. But how many of the people would like to see that type of cricket? So in came T20. And you can see those on the borderline who heard about cricket, who said, okay, there's something exciting going on. They started watching, and you see how there is a total change in the way cricket is played, and the focus and the tournaments which are going on all over we cannot stop it. We have to adjust. We have to, in fact, T10 is something which is a true likelihood, and because people don't have patience even for 3 hours, they want it to be finished in 1.5 hours. So maybe that is the next thing which will happen. Another important thing for the community through sports is health. Now I talked about how health, the yoga and the practices in KBR Park. But just imagine our children, the youngsters, the types of diseases which are being reported now. Heart attacks, we see so many collapsing in a gym, collapsing here, collapsing there. Now why does this happen? Suddenly they want to exercise when they have not. This non-exposure to sports and building up of all these other diabetes and blood pressure at young ages. Our bodies are not designed like that. Human bodies are designed for very, very hard work actually. But if we don't give it that hard work, then it is going to go in other directions. We are going to develop all sorts of problems, neural problems, physical problems, and mental problems. If you see ecologically and historically, anthropologically, our bodies can take any type of work which we subject it to. So we need to stretch out, and the best way to do it is through sport. So this has to come in, and community development, which we talk about, will definitely happen. There will be better health parameters. There will be lesser people with diabetes, lesser people with blood pressure and heart attacks and all such things. So this is one more thing which we need to take forward. I have given 15 minutes. I don't know, Vivi, you have to tell me if over. So we can go on and on. I'm just expressing what we all know actually, and it needs to be just put out and spoken about. Then strengthening of community bonds is something which sports really helps. This is the last point which I would like to speak about. What happens is sports brings people together. The entire nation feels happy when India wins the World Cup, and the entire nation feels sad when we get knocked out unreasonably. So as a nation, the only other time when we feel like that is in a war, Kargil war, okay, all of us felt great about it. Now if we lose something, then if it goes on for unreasonably long time, then we feel differently. Similarly, as I said earlier, it uplifts the nation and gives us good feelings and good feel about our own country. So in the end, I would like to quote Ellen Kohler, who said, "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much." So I thank the Hindu group for inviting me today for this conclave which they are having. And I wish everyone all the best. I wish Hyderabad Cricket Association, as I saw them, to take us out of this depth, this shame which we have gone into, and get it back its past glory. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone.
So requesting you to kindly stay here on the stage, please. Thank you, Mr. Anand, for a thoroughly illuminating session. We look forward to seeing some of these ideas take shape in Hyderabad in the time to come. I now request Mr. Ayon Sen Gupta, editor Sportstar, to honor Mr. C.V. Anand with a memento as a token of our appreciation and gratitude. Thank you again for joining us today.